This is a case that I carry them in. You'll notice this one has a mount that's different than the GoPro. I'll show you what that's for. It's a camera mount, basically. These are my two batteries. Of course, I cut this out of foam and glued it together. It works for me. This is where the GoPro 4 was, but it's pointless to carry that now because the other two are so much better. And you know, the only time I'll use the GoPro 4 is outside external shots. But its battery is pretty much toast at this point, so that's why I don't even carry it. And one of the modifications that I've made is to put a rocker mount on it. So that's a swivel mount. You can move around. It's a typical GoPro mount, but a swivel on the bottom. And I don't know if that's a GoPro manufacturer, is it? Yeah, it looks like it is. I also have a metal case here, a metal custom case that comes with a lens protector. This works great. The only challenge is it's an enclosure. So if you're using this up front, which is where I typically do use it, you have to keep track of the heat. Because if you just let it sit there in the sun, flying to Florida, for example, in bright sunlight, you could have an overheat situation. So you got to keep an eye on that. Okay, so to review, we've got one audio connector here, the forward audio connector here. I come up there and you can see a connection for the camera and a typical GoPro mount. I put it on a swivel so I can point it at me or directly out the front because I don't have a 360 camera at this point. Down here, you'll see the USB connection. That's where your battery goes. Now, if I use this connector, then the battery has to sit up there on the console and it becomes a projectile. So, you know, that's problematic. I have Velcro up there, does a decent job, but you also have to be mindful of lithium batteries and heat. Anyway, so that's the setup I have now. Not all that great, but it works. When it comes to mounting towards the rear of the aircraft, my original position was back here. I would put the camera right on this connector back here, and it seemed to be that it was too far back. I wanted something closer. So my next solution was to put another GoPro connector midway up, and I'll pull this back a little bit so you can get a perspective on where it is. Okay, there's my trim over there, and if you look back here, that's where the GoPro is, and then of course the speaker's right behind it. At any rate, that's the one I'll use more often today. And in order to use that though, and to have a battery connected to it, if you just have that battery sitting on there like that, what will happen is it's too much weight. It'll end up any kind of turbulence. It'll pop that connector right out. So what I did was I put this secondary. I used this old one, which was my original one. This was nice because it kept it completely out of your way. But this one's nicer because you get a better shot. So I use that one to support the camera, the weight of the cable, and you can see how I connect it there. So that's there. In addition, when I started to do some of the autopilot testing and so forth, what I wanted to do really was get a little closer. I want to get closer shots. So to get the closer shots, I put this articulated arm in, and that articulated arm connects to the battery, or connects to the camera rather, from the bottom. And I showed you that on the base, and I'll give you another shot of that here in a few seconds. But basically, you screw that into the bottom of the camera mount, and then you have a GoPro sitting on it that you can fully adjust, and you get a closer shot without glare from the window directly on the panel. And that was a nice addition. For that guy, there's where your cable connects to the back. In the back audio connector. I'm looking to see if you can see that. Give you a better shot of that. There you go. The passenger's headset connection is what I use to get the audio, and you just have to be mindful on your intercom system that you can, there you go, on the intercom system, that you don't use the isolate or the crew. What you want is to use the all setting there to make sure you get video to all your cameras. What I typically do is What I don't do is have passengers and do videos usually, unless it's an experienced pilot and I don't have to babysit them. You know, if they're good to go and they understand that I'm smart enough that if things get really busy or unexpected happens, I discontinue the video stuff. The video is a backseat operation as far as that's concerned. Just caution you. I just caution you about keeping your priorities straight when it comes to capturing video in flight. This airplane is pretty sophisticated. It's got a lot going on, so stay on top of it. Anyway, sorry, I'm done preaching. All right, see if I can put this together for you in a video and send this out to, because it was a good question on how to set up the cameras. By the way, this is not ideal. I don't like wires. I don't like batteries sitting up on the deck. There's a lot I don't like about this configuration, so if you have a better setup, please, I'm all ears. Let me know. The batteries in the GoPro don't last all that long. They simply don't. So I feel you absolutely have to have an extended battery setup. Maybe what I'll do is now that I say that, maybe I'll get an extended connection for the battery so I don't have to leave it up on the console and I can sit it down on the floor somewhere out of the way. That's something I'll have to look into. Any rate, I'm going to end this now. You guys have a great day, and we'll see you. Bye.